Thinking of shooting for the stars and trying to get your next song to land on the Billboard charts? Well, it might be easier than you think. Hi, I'm Reagan Ram with OrpheusAudioAcademy.com, helping you make better music and grow your fan base online. And today in this video, we're going to be talking all about how you can get your songs to land on the Billboard charts. Now, first off, what are we talking about here when it comes to Billboard? Because there are actually a lot of different Billboard charts, each with their own different requirements. So if you're an indie unsigned artist, then your best bet is to get on the Heatseekers charts. And if you don't know, the Heatseekers charts were introduced by Billboard in 1991 with the purpose of highlighting the sales by new and developing musical recording artists. So with that in mind then, how do you actually land on a Billboard chart? Well, I'm going to cover this question in essentially two parts in this video. So part one, I'm going to be covering basically all the technical requirements you need to cover in order to make sure you are actually eligible to make it onto the Billboard charts. And then in the second half, I'm going to give you some tips and strategies to actually help you achieve the number of streams or sales that you need to get on the Billboard charts. But first, big picture, what does it actually take to get on a Billboard chart? Well, on average, you need to sell between 450 and 500 albums within the first week to get on a Billboard chart. Or if we're just talking streams, you need to get between 562,500 and 1,687,500 streams to get on the Billboard chart, or obviously some combination of the two between streams and sales. And I don't know about you, but that seems like a very manageable number that can be reached. Only 450 to 500 sales. And in fact, many unsigned indie artists have done just that, sold that amount to get on a Billboard chart. All right, so now let's dive into actually how you can achieve this. All right, step one is to make sure that your song actually qualifies for a Billboard chart. In order to even be in the running for a Billboard placement, there are a few boxes you need to check first. The good news is all of these can be done for free. So number one is you need to make sure that your song is registered with Nielsen SoundScan. And I'll actually have a link to them in the description below, so you can go there and make sure that your song is registered, which, as of the recording of this video, like I said, is free. You will also need an International Recording Standard Code, or ISRC, and a Universal Product Code, or UPC. And these can also be easily acquired through many different distributors. For example, I use DistroKid, and they provide those to you for free, so you can have that box checked as well. By the way, if you don't have a distributor yet, or you don't like the one you're with, then I highly recommend DistroKid, and you can check that out by clicking the link in the description below. All right, with all that red tape out of the way, let's really dive into how you can actually get a Billboard placement. So in order to do this, it's important to understand what exactly Billboard looks at in order to determine who to rank. And it just so happens that Billboard actually has 4 ranking factors that they look at to determine where to rank different artists. So number one is airplay, or how often your song is played on the radio. And airplay is tracked through broadcast data systems, or BDS. BDS uses digital pattern recognition technology to identify songs that air on radio and TV channels across the United States and Canada. This process is done 24/7 and captures over 100 million songs annually, and this is according to sonicbids.com. So if you want to increase your odds of getting on a Billboard chart, then consider reaching out to radio stations and seeing if they will place your song. Of course, this is definitely a challenge, and it's something that's really out of your control. You can't control if someone says yes to your song or not, and it takes a lot of time. So if your time is limited, then you might want to look at maybe targeting some of the other ranking factors for getting your song on a Billboard chart. Speaking of which, number 2 is album sales. As you probably guessed, album sales play a factor in whether or not you get ranked on a Billboard chart. And it's actually Nielsen SoundScan that tracks how many album units are sold based on barcodes. Or if you're releasing your music independently, that's where that UPC code comes in. And like I said, DistroKid makes this really easy for you to get. And so if you want to get started with DistroKid, just be sure to use my link in the description below, and you can get 7% off when you get started. All right, the third ranking factor is social media and streaming, and this is a big one. There are a lot of different platforms that come into this ranking factor, but a few of the main ones include Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Vivo, RDO, Slacker, and more. So be sure to engage your fans on social media and get them sharing your music. Now, fourth ranking factor, I'm just calling other because there's a bunch of miscellaneous factors that they take into consideration, but the main three that I covered are airplay, album sales, and social media and streaming. But if you want to know all the different factors, I actually have a link in the description below that goes to Billboard where they actually break down everything that they cover. So now that we know what Billboard looks at when it comes to whether or not your song will get ranked, how do we actually increase your album sales? How do we increase your streams and shares on social media so that you can actually get ranked? Well, keep in mind, you need to sell between 450 and 500 albums within the first week, but that is a little bit misleading. This is because any sales you make during a 6 to 8 week pre-order period actually count towards the sales in the first week. Therefore, you're obviously going to want to take advantage of that 6 to 8 week pre-order window so that you can drive up your album sales, streams, and all the rest. But how do you actually make sure that you drive sales during this window? Well, this is where using some marketing psychology can really come in handy in the form of offering some kind of special promotion so that you're incentivizing your fans to order within that window because that special offer is going away. That creates urgency, that creates scarcity, so that people know they need to buy now. This can be in the form of maybe some bonus tracks you'll give them if they buy during that window that they can't get at any other time. Or really, it can be anything. Just use your imagination. What would be something that your fans would love to get, but you offer it only in that window? Maybe exclusive merch, right? Use your imagination to come up with something that you know your fans would really love to get, but they have to get it in that pre-order window. And that can really help drive up your sales so that you can increase your stats for Billboard to take into consideration. All right, so that's album sales, but what about streams? How many streams, for example, is equivalent to one album sale so that we know, hey, how many streams can we get versus how many album sales, so that we can come up with some kind of aggregate number to know how close we are to getting on those charts. Well, from my research, 1 unit equals 1,250 clicks per streams from paying users. In other words, if 1,250 Spotify premium users listen to your song one time, now you have created the equivalent of 1 unit sold or 1 album sale or 1 single sale, whatever it is that you are promoting. Or when it comes to non-paying users, you need 3,750 clicks or streams from those non-paying users. All right, now transitioning into phase 2 of this video, how do we get our streams and our album sales up? How do we get them high enough so that we can hit those numbers and get placement? Well, this really just all comes down to building an audience. So what are you doing the rest of the time when you're not promoting your song or releasing a new album? You want to be continually growing that audience with your back catalog of music. And this all starts with building an email list. This is so foundational for any business, and especially someone who's trying to grow their music business. And that's what you are. If you are an artist who's looking to make an income, then you really need to think of yourself as an entrepreneur or a musicpreneur, if you want to use that term. And having an email list is so foundational to that because everyone has email. Not everyone is on a social media platform, but everyone has email. Just about everyone checks it at least once daily. And studies show that people are more likely to buy through email than social media. In other words, people take action from emails. So you're going to want some kind of email service provider tool. I'm not just talking about collecting people in Gmail or something like that, because that actually violates anti-spam laws and really limits you in what you can do. So you're going to want an email service provider. The one I use is called ConvertKit, and you can get a free account by clicking in the description below. And what that will do is that will enable you to start accumulating a list of fans that you can send emails to. So when your big pre-launch and launch window arise, you can be sending emails out to your fans saying, hey, buy my album here, or go listen to my song here. We're trying to, see if we can get on the Billboard charts, or whatever you want to say in your emails in order to get your fans to listen to your music, to buy your music. You can do that through email, and you know that every single one of your fans is going to see your email, whereas if you're just relying on social media, not all your fans will see that because so many of these platforms these days are basically pay to play. You don't get really any organic reach. So email is number one. But don't just wait until the pre-order window or the launch week arrives. You want to be building a buzz beforehand. Start sharing pictures, videos, and song clips weeks or even months beforehand so that you get your fans excited for your upcoming release. You can also consider doing a press release or even collaborating with other artists in your niche to bolster and grow your fan base shortly before launch. Now, number 3 is to launch that pre-order campaign that we talked about, right? Offer some kind of free bonus songs for people that buy to incentivize them. And just think of how you can keep the excitement and buzz going during this period with frequent posting on social media and also emailing your list. Now, number 4, you might also want to offer a special bonus just during launch week to get people by right at the very end before time is up for getting counted towards the Billboard charts. Again, this could be maybe a discount on merch or exclusive merch, or again, more bonus songs for everyone who buys during that week. Again, it's up to you and what your fans would enjoy. All right, so those are my tips for how you can go about getting your music on the Billboard charts. But I have a very important question for you to consider. Should you even try to get on a Billboard chart? Is that something that's even worthwhile? Here's the reality. We exist in a very new music industry, and a lot of the old rules no longer really apply. There are so many vanity metrics out there, such as likes, views, shares, and even streams. And I think also getting on a Billboard chart is a little bit of a vanity metric. That means they might look good, but does it really help you grow a music business? Well, it might to a certain extent, right? Certainly getting a lot of Spotify streams can make you some money, but is that sustainable? Are you going to be continuing to get those likes? And also, you have to get a ton of streams just to make any kind of decent income from Spotify. And the same thing for getting on a Billboard chart. Maybe you get on a Billboard chart and it leads to some growth for your music in the short term, but then what happens after that kind of fades away. So what is your kind of long-term strategy? How are you going to make a consistent income from your music? I think a much more important metric is how many super fans do you have? So what is a super fan? A super fan is someone that absolutely is in love with you and your brand and your music, meaning that they would buy just about everything that you put out. Anytime you release an album, they're there to buy it. Anytime you release some cool new merch, they're there to buy it. If you have a fan club or a Patreon, they are going to sign up. They want to support you because they are all in, they're all about you and your music. And the great thing about these super fans is they tend to spend, on the low end, at least $100 a year with the people that they patronize, that they support. So what does that mean for you and your business? It means you only really need 1,000 of these super fans to make a full-time income from your music. And isn't that what we all really want as music artists? We want to be able to create our music full-time. We want to be able to quit our day job so that all we can do is focus on the music. And that's what having these 1,000 true fans will do. They'll earn you a 6-figure income, because if 1,000 people spend $100 with you every single year, there you go, you got $100,000 a year income from your music. So I think that's a much bigger goal than shooting from some kind of vanity, ego-stroking metric like getting on a Billboard chart. Not to say that that's not a good thing to go after. Maybe later on, once you've grown that fan base, that can be kind of a fun community building thing for you to do, and you approach it as, hey, let's all go after this goal together. Let's see if we can get a ranking, because that's something fans like to see. They like to see when their favorite music artist does well and gets ranked high and gets recognition. So, but in the beginning, I say just focus more on the audience and building that relationship with your fans, rather than just trying to squeeze as many sales or streams out of them as possible. If you grow that audience, all the rest of those vanity metrics will come on their own. So how do you go about building that audience and creating those super fans? Well, I've actually put together a super fan building formula guide for you, which you can grab for free by clicking in the description below. And this will walk you through all the steps you need to complete in order to create a music business that generates those super fans and can build a full-time income for you. All right, so if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like. And if you want to be sure to get notified when I release new videos on how to grow your music business and how to make better music, then feel free to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that I release on this channel. All right, question of the video, what things are you doing to grow your fan base? What are some tactics or strategies you're using that you found have been working well? I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, have a great day, and I'll see you soon.